opening a new bag. Okay, this is Normasol, but I think it should be the same if it's lactated ringer or anything else. And there's a plug down here. I just have to take this off. Try to keep the area sterile. Don't be touching it with your fingers. Opening the infusion set. I got this one off of Chewy. And just trying to be mindful of the sterile ends. I guess this is where the needle will go. This is the side that we need to put into our bag. So I like to put it so that this blue tab is on the same side as the blue writing. And we're gonna stick this in here, and you might have to wiggle it. Push pretty hard, try and get it all the way in so that the blue tab is pretty much up to the ring. And then we can turn it this way. And that should be good. We're gonna have to bleed the air out. So I'll take this off and then just have it over the bathtub, bleed any air out of the line. And that looks pretty good. And then just turn it off. Now we're ready to put our needle on, and I'll show you that in another video. Okay, so I got these needles from Chewy, and we like to use the 20 gauge needle with our Molly. It seems like it's small enough so it doesn't hurt that much, but it's big enough so that there's enough flow. And you're gonna take a needle out. I discovered that this took me a while to figure out. Opening it from the side that you're going to put it onto the line with. So you're just gonna open, if I can get it, peel it back a little bit, just enough to where the end of the needle is there, and stick it on, and then pull that off. And some lines will have what's called a lure lock, and I have one here. And I actually like those lines better. I guess this line doesn't have the lure lock. I wish it did, but it's this component here where you can screw the needle sort of in so that when you take the cap off, you know it's not gonna come off the line, but this is actually pretty secure, so I think we'll be okay. So we like to warm up the fluids before we give them to Molly. So I just use a glass dish. I always have this in my bathroom now. It's a permanent fixture since she's got kidney disease. And I just fill it up with pretty warm bathtub water, and I stick the bag in. I'm careful to not stick it so that like this is in the water. I leave this out. However, I do put the line in the water as well. So I just make sure like the line is in, but the ends of the line are not. So the needle is not in, and the part that we just stuck in the bag is not in the water. Just decreasing the risk of contamination there at those connection points. And I let it sit in the water for probably like 10 minutes. If you let it sit too long, the water's gonna cool off and then it defeats the whole purpose, but probably about 10 minutes or so, 5 to 10 minutes, and then we give it to her. Next thing I do while the fluids are heating up is, because I have these two little rapscallions and they think they're helping with our sessions, but they're really not. So I need to keep them distracted outside the room so they're not pawing at the door. So I have their churu plate, which I'll squeeze the treats onto the plate outside the closed door for them. And I have Molly's churus. So these churus are an absolute godsend as far as giving fluids or just anything trying to distract your kitty. They make other brands, so if like Molly's starting to get tired of the churus, so I'm trying some Tiki Cat. I have some Applause version. I have another Applause version. So they make all different kinds of these wet treats and all different flavors, so you'll find what your cat likes. Molly does not like tuna. She, if anything, likes chicken, but she's getting tired of chicken at this point. So it may just come down to pats on the head. Okay, so I have squeezed out all the churros and the tikis onto my plates. So here's the one for the boys. I'll give that to them to keep them distracted and quiet. And then because I'm gonna be giving her fluids alone tonight, I'm gonna squeeze these out onto the plate all the way. Otherwise, if my husband is helping me give the fluids, sometimes he'll hold the licky treat for her and let her lick it out of the tube. But since I'm doing it by myself tonight, I'm just going to put it on the plate, and then I might have her lick it off my finger or something as we go. Okay, so now the boys will be nice and happy. All right, so I've got her churros on the floor now, and I think it's good to have something soft for them to lay on and something that smells like a person that they like. In this case, she really likes my husband, so I put his sweatshirt down, and I'm gonna take these out of the water now, and I'm just gonna dry off the bag so we don't get any drips that scare her. So we'll dry this off and then we'll hang it up. Okay, so now I've got the bag dried off, and we actually have a nail here on the wall, so it's perfect, and it's hanging up. This is starting with a fresh bag, so this is 1,000 milliliters in this bag, or 1,000 cc's. So she takes 120 every dose, so if I were to go down to the 1, that means I've given her 100, and we just need to go like between the 1 and 1.5 is what we're shooting for. So the way I have arranged it is that when I'm sitting on the floor here, I can sort of look up and see the bag in the mirror there. So, but some people use a hanger on a towel rack to hang the bag, or on a doorknob, so whatever works for you, just so you can see the number. And I did actually have to move I don't even know what you call this, the roller stopper thing. I did have to move that. It was like way up here on the line. So I just held the end of the line up so that I wouldn't drain all the fluid out. And then I unrolled or opened up the line, and then I scooted the whole thing down and then closed the line. So the big portion, wider part here is open. When you roll it this way, it's closed. Some other lines might have different methods, but this is how this line is. So when I'm giving her fluids, I'll be down to the 1 plus another like quarter. So this is Molly. Her name at the shelter was Grumpy, but she's Grumpy Molly now. So here we go. So we can try to calm her down a little. She's getting tired of churros. Get her in the groove a little. It's nice to have a towel nearby so you can wipe your fingers off or wipe up the solution if it spills. We got our line here. I kind of hold her with my legs. You'll find what works. And I really think bathrooms are nice because there's just less places that they can go. So I take the cap off with one hand. I'm holding the line, take it off, stick it down there. And then I like to have bevel up, so there's like an angle to the needle, and you can kind of see the hole where they've like sliced off at an angle of the needle. I like to try to keep that up if I can, up towards the ceiling. And I'm going to pinch around, not pinch, but just kind of loosely grab the loose skin up around her shoulders and get what they call a tent. So I'm gonna just kind of poke a few times and get her desensitized with my finger. Just gonna go right there, Miss Molly. We're gonna poke it in. And it doesn't really hurt them. It's more scary than anything. So we're in. Now I'm gonna open up the line. And I'm gonna check my that is too. So sometimes that happens, and like, it's okay. No worries. So we'll just kind of reset. She's not a happy camper, but she can do it. All right, let's try again, Miss Molly. We got our tent. I'm gonna poke. I'm gonna squeeze with my legs. We're gonna go right in. Here we go, Miss Molly. You're such a brave girl. Good job. It's not wanting to go in. Oh, there we go. Now we're in. Good job, Moss. Let's try again. So we're checking our drip. We got a really nice drip. Sometimes if the drip slows down, you don't have to take the needle all the way out. You can just kind of pull it out a little bit, change the angle of it. We can see if she wants some more churros. Does she want any? She'll take some. Maybe a little bit. So I think for us, like the big thing is learning that this is not such a scary thing. Like in the beginning, it was like I have to poke my needle with my cat with a needle, and it really doesn't hurt her that much. It's more just getting over that mental barrier of how scary it is. I still have a good drip, and I'm watching the level. So watch me take the cap off. Okay, so bevel up. I'm gonna squeeze her with my knees. Gonna get that loose skin right here between her shoulder blades. Gonna poke it a few times gently with my finger. Feel that tent. Bevel up. Just a little poke to get through that skin, and then we're in. She's such a good girl. Turning on. And we got a good drip. Good job. I know. There we go. About there, and she usually starts telling me when we're there. She can tell when we're done. So I'm gonna roll this closed. Good girl, Miss Molly. Gently take the needle out. Put a little pressure on there for just a second. And then we can let her go. Oh, Walls. I'm gonna make sure that you cap your needle, obviously. And then I leave this needle on, and then I put it away under the sink for next time. And then when it's time for the next dose, I'll take this off and put it in my sharps container and put the new needle on.